Do men value the opinions of another woman more or another man?
If we're talking romantically, definitely another woman.
Really? Hygiene is so
I don't
important
you like because of
for
hygiene.
me.
What would tell you that he's hygienic enough for you to go out with him? His neck. Nah, that's actually true. Yo guys, welcome back to another episode on my channel. I'm sitting in this spot, which means I've got a great conversation lined up for you today. You know, on this channel, we like to talk about all things relationships and seeing what we can do to attract the kind of person we want. So without further ado, please welcome Mykaella to the show. Mykaella, welcome.
Hi, kid. Nice to meet you.
How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah?
windswept, but this weather is crazy. But I'm keeping that positive energy.
Oh, big facts. It's the thing with UK. You just never know what you're going to get.
Oh my god.
You just never know.
Talk about last week's weather.
You got to be prepared. I even heard it's meant to snow next week. So who knows? Who knows? We'll see what the world
make it
gives
worth
us.
it though.
Make it worth
This cold will make it worth it if it snows.
100%. So I want to jump right in. So tell us your age or your age range, asking a lady her age. And one thing a guy should know about you if he wants to take you on a date.
Okay. I'm 22. Okay. And one thing that a guy should know is that I do MMA.
Hey, you better watch out, boy.
Exactly. That's why I mention it sometimes.
Really?
Because I think a lot of the times people can get intimidated by it, and then sometimes it spices up or it initiates a good conversation between common interests in guys.
Yeah, of course. So is that like a first date thing, like common thing you tend to share?
I have not gone on a date in so long.
You've not been on a date in so long?
In so long. So that has never happened for me.
Okay. Is that like by choice or?
By choice. Yeah.
Okay. Do you hating men right now?
No, not at all. Men are great. Men are great.
Men are great creatures. They're okay.
Yes, some of them. Most of them. I'm not a man. You don't know.
You would know better than me. Why are you like are you like focused on your studies right now or like, you know?
Yeah, so a few reasons. I'm quite focused on my study. But also I came out of a very intense relationship. So I feel like it was that part for me after that I should really focus on myself. Yeah. And it wasn't that we ended in a bad way. We ended in a very good way, but then it made me self-reflect a lot. And going into the new year, I wanted to see how I can challenge myself to be, number one, a better person. Number two, to build like mental and physical strength and challenge all of my limits. And obviously with that, you have to be really resilient. You have to be super disciplined.
Yes.
And so finding, number one, I don't chase anyone. Number two, it would have to be someone that came naturally because my routine is very strict. And to find someone who's also not trying to grow. Yes. Being 22. Yeah. Like both our routines would clash. Sure. And that person would be someone that I would ideally want to be with in the future. Yeah, of course. But it would never work whilst we're growing. So. Okay. So do you feel like you have to get to a point that you've grown in yourself before you're open to that? Absolutely. Yeah. Interesting. So what if you met a guy who you felt had good potential? You saw he was working on himself, you know, he had like good drive, good ambition and stuff, or he's got a lot of stuff going on for him and he took an interest in you. Would you be like, I'm not open to it because you know, even though you're both growing and there's potential there, or how would you handle that? Do you know what? I haven't gone into that situation. Okay. Since I decided to make this choice. Yeah. But I think if I was to have met that situation, I would like to hope that I was disciplined and resilient and staying true to myself. And because I'm a person that really commits to the self-commitment I've made to myself. It's the very small ways that you show it to yourself. It's like going to the gym. Very true. And saying that you're going to do something and you stay committed to all those small, like, those small conversations you have with yourself. They're small wins, aren't they? Yeah. They're small wins, like getting up, going to the gym, eating the right thing. It's all small wins towards the bigger goal that you have envisioned for yourself. Yeah.
For 100%. Sure. Let me give the floor to you. You brought some stuff you wanted to talk and ask about today. What's the first thing you want to chat about?
Well, let me just grab my phone.
You know, guys, we do love a guest who is prepared. Always.
Okay, so number one. Do men value the opinions of another woman more or another man? And it can depend on whatever context you decide.
Okay. I think if we're talking romantically, definitely another woman.
Really?
Yeah, because naturally guys are going to take, if they're interested in women, they're going to take cues from what women say.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
But I think that a lot of what women say isn't, they say because it sounds good, not because it's necessarily true.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Not all women, obviously. And I get it because it's kind of like, you know, no one's going to say, it's hard if it's like, oh, why do you think I'm not attracted to women? She's like, oh, you just have to be sweet and kind. So, no, actually, bro, because maybe the women you're going after, they like a guy who's in shape and is on his shit and you're not on that. But most women are going to say that because that could hurt someone's feelings, right?
Yeah.
So I think when it comes to romantic and dating, I think guys tend to take cues from women or from guys who are successful with women.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's very
true.
So
a guy who's basically shown that he's in a position or getting the results that he wants. When it comes to professional, I think professional just depends on who's in a higher point in their life or in their journey. Does that make sense? I don't think it's gendered. I'm trying to think of a situation where it would be gendered. I think maybe socially, and the only reason I'd say socially to some degree is because men and women are treated different in certain social environments.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there are things that you as a woman will never understand about what it's like to be as a man, and there's things as a man I'll never understand what it's like being as a woman. So on that, it might be like, I know if we're talking socially, this is an example that I always come back to. If I'm giving advice, I've got two younger sisters. If I'm giving advice to a younger sister of mine, I'm like, you don't walk home on your own at night. Do you know what I mean? From the station, like get an Uber or have a friend walk with you, or if you're with a guy, make sure he walks with you. Whereas for my younger brother or like a son of mine, I'd be like, you need to be streetwise.
Yeah.
Because you need to be able to take that path by yourself as a young man. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't think it's particularly gendered. I think when it comes to dating, guys would probably listen to women because that's who they want. But if there's a guy who's getting the results that he wants, he'll probably take his advice.
Yeah. I
Does
definitely
that make
see
sense?
that. Yeah.
What about women? Do you think they're more likely to listen to men or women in certain aspects?
I would say, in my experience, 22 years of experience, I would say that women tend to value men's opinion more.
Okay.
And I think it's because women are very emotional. And so they normally tend to give a glamorized answer about the person they envision to be for that man. But that just means that you're not being true to yourself.
Very true.
The reason why I think men would provide like better answers for you in terms of your relationship is because they're more logical in thinking. And obviously they know men's habits and the way that women knows other women's habits as well. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. What do you think men need to know about women? If there was a guy who was struggling in attracting and dating women, what do you think he needs to know about women in order to better himself in that sense?
I think all the typical ways of bettering yourself, like being successful in whatever you do, and that doesn't mean being the highest paid person in your role or being a certain hierarchy towards whatever goals you're going into. It's staying true to yourself and feeling like what you do at the moment is something that you're really happy with, and you're happy doing it, the person that you are right now.
Right.
Does that make sense? I'm not sure if I've complicated that question.
Yeah. So are you basically saying, essentially, if you find a purpose that he can have a drive for.
Yes, 100%.
Then
I think all of that is like important as well, but just stay true to yourself, because the cracks will always show at whatever given point. It will come and show.
Yeah.
And then women are going to be like, and when women get like that, they can get very snappy with it. They can get creative with their responses. Okay. And so it can be very hurtful to guys who genuinely want to find like interest in people and to have good intentions. And I think that's what sometimes even creates toxic masculinity.
Interesting.
So yeah. I always say for women to be as gentle and kind and just a good person to whoever they're trying to pursue. Do you know what I mean? Because I find that a lot of women right now are very feisty. They're very in their masculine energy.
Very true.
And they're willing to hurt genuine people to feel that burst.
Why do you think that's happened? I feel like that's happening more often now than ever before, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think more women are very much sitting in their masculine when it comes to men nowadays? What's in your take?
I think it's a lot of years of oppression as a woman, but also because we have a lot more opportunity now and we just don't care anymore. And it's like going to the gym.
Yeah.
Even for myself, I try to not have such a masculine look. But sometimes I feel empowered to have that. Like it's a mix of emotions when you're still trying to figure it out, and I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yes.
But I think it's just not giving a fuck anymore. Yeah.
Giving a fuck about what? About what men think?
About what men think, and having that power to be influenced by other women who are higher and stronger and in every way better than you. And most women find most women find it as a competition, but then the others find inspiration and motivation and determination.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that kind of attitude has spreaded.
I get that.
Especially with social media as well.
100%. I completely agree.
As well with the gym, women have found a lot of release in losing their tensions at the gym.
Yeah, I think training on oneself, because whether you're training at the gym or like fighting, you're training the mental, physical, and spiritual to some degree, right? Yeah. Interesting you say about women who are maybe higher than others, because I think whether they're high or not can really be dependent on the lenses you look at what she's doing. So for example, if you're saying, a woman who's very successful in her career and she's earning a lot of money and stuff, yeah, she's high. So if you're like, that's your endeavor, she is quote unquote higher or further in that journey than maybe another woman would be, right? But then you could have the woman who is maybe, she's got the relationship she wants, she's got the standard of man that she wants, the caliber of guy that she wants, the healthiness of the relationship. They're building a foundation for their future. She may not be the most successful woman, but she's actually higher in that regards in her romantic life, her love life, and the woman who's super successful may not actually have that.
I agree. It's reaching the self-actualization.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what I agree with.
100%. What's something else you want to bring?
Let's have a look.
Go for it.
Okay. Why is a woman threatening to a man with a toxic masculinity? What is it about a woman?
Why is a woman threatening to a man?
You know how, I'm not sure if I've answered them properly, to be honest.
That's all right. Go for it. What do you mean?
Okay, so a man who is in his manly ways.
Yep.
But in a toxic ways. I have such a long-winded ways of saying things.
That's all right. Go for it. We're here. We're here.
And you know how that amount of toxicness, when a woman approaches him, he tends to become a bit more manly,
a bit more masculine, aggressive.
What am I trying to say here? Maybe I'll ask a different question.
Yeah, okay, I was gonna say, like, with the toxic masculinity thing, you might disagree with me on this.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything such as toxic masculinity, and this is what I mean. I think masculinity is like a gun. It can be used for good to protect people, or it can be used to hurt people.
Yeah.
You don't, when someone commits a crime with a gun, you don't say, oh, that's a toxic gun. That's a bad gun. No, it's the person who uses it. It's the same with femininity. A woman can use her femininity to nurture somebody, to heal some people, to connect her community, or she can use it to manipulate somebody. She can use it to drain them emotionally and spiritually. So when it comes to toxic masculinity, and it's funny because at least in the narrative, what we see, a lot of things that people say are toxic masculinity in men, a woman can do the exact same thing and she's celebrated for it.
Yeah.
So for example, if a man sleeps with a girl and then doesn't call her back, that's toxic masculinity because he just had sex with her and then he dipped. But if a woman sleeps with a guy and then doesn't call him back, that's empowerment.
Yeah.
So whether it's toxic or not is down to how the individual uses that essence of themselves in whatever situation. Because we all have masculine and feminine in us. Men have femininity in them, women have masculinity in them, right? So we all have both in us, but how we use it determines whether we are toxic as people, not that masculinity is toxic or that femininity is toxic. Because if there's toxic masculinity, there's toxic femininity, right?
Yes, 100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Why? What do you think about that?
Well, I was going to ask, why do you think it exists then? Why do you think that there's a stigma that exists? And why is it in the textbooks?
I think the terminology is incorrect. I think the terminology is wrong. And I think I understand why they would use it, because they're saying, oh, things that are very stereotypical of men, behaviors that negatively impact other people, they're calling toxic masculinity. But it's kind of like racism. Anybody can be racist. To be racist is a behavior that someone chooses to do. It's not like, okay, well, you can only be racist because you're this color and you can only be racist because you're this color. Anyone can be racist. Yeah. Because anyone can be prejudiced. So anyone can be toxically masculine, technically. But like I said, but there's masculinity that's used for good. Yeah. That's used to protect. Yeah. Family, countries, homes, honor, religion. So in that sense, I think the terminology is wrong. I don't think toxic masculinity is a thing. I think people use masculinity to do evil, but saying toxic masculinity implies that there's something toxic about being masculine. And the irony is more women are being masculine today and more men are being feminine. So does that mean more women are toxic today? I don't know. You tell me.
That's true. That's true.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Are double standards ever okay, in your opinion?
I'm trying to think of a situation where maybe I just don't think that, generally, I don't think that it is. Just because my moral is to always be, to stay true to yourself and to communicate and to have that type of soft life in the relationship that you have with yourself and others. Yeah. So for me, I don't think that it would ever work out to have double standards. At the moment, anyways, I'm thinking off the top of my head. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking when you ask me that.
Is there anything you look for in a man that maybe you haven't fulfilled yourself yet?
Can I ask that question again? I'm trying to deep the question. The thing is with me, I take hours to deep the question.
So is there anything you look for in a guy that maybe you don't fulfill yourself?
My safety.
Say more.
Yeah. Because as a woman, even walking here, so it was dark, and even though there's lights and there's people around, I don't feel safe to 100% defend myself. Even if I do the sports that I do, how can I recognize, even if I'm being self-aware, my periphery is like on point.
Very true.
You can be out-strengthened by anyone, to be honest, given that they have the tactical knowledge to do that, and especially if they're very calculated and they've practiced it a lot. Like say if you do MMA yourself and you know how to take someone down without being in the periphery, like that's what I think. That's what I think.
Yeah, I get
and it's always in my mind, whatever I do.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's kind of like what's the difference between like a double standard and then people bringing different things to the relationship? So it's like, yeah, maybe the man brings protection, but then I'm just being very stereotypical here. But then you bring the healing. Like you're very good at healing him emotionally and yourself emotionally, or being nurturing in that sense. Or, you know, if he brings, if he brings the masculinity, maybe you bring the femininity. Do you know what I mean? He sits in that masculine role, you sit in the feminine role. And so in that sense, there would be things where, I don't say different rules apply to us, but we operate differently because we bring different things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like paying for a date. Like, when was the last time you paid for a guy on the first date?
Well, I've not gone on a first date in so long.
Yeah.
But I always offer, do you want me to pay half? But I don't say it, do you want me to pay half? I'll pay half. It's the language that you use.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think the gesture's really good.
Yeah, and even I met my friend as well the other day, and he's a guy, and I paid for certain things. I didn't allow him to pay for everything.
As in, you paid for your own things?
No, for both of our things. Like, he'd pay this, nice. I'd offer to pay this and that. Like,
oh, that's nice. I think it's different because he's a friend, right?
I suppose. Yeah. I suppose so.
As opposed to like,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was a date. Maybe it was a date. Maybe it was a date.
No. What's it called? In dates that I have gone on. Sorry, I don't know why I went a bit off rail there.
Yeah.
I've offered.
Yeah.
I've offered.
Yeah, I think that's
But
good.
that's just me.
Yeah.
Because I know that women will say, oh yeah, I'll have a rule of whether I offer. Oh, no, I'll have a rule.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna offer to pay half the date, and if he accepts, then he's done. Like,
yeah. What does that give you an impression? If you offer to pay your half and then he accepts you paying your half, what does that make you think?
On the first date.
On the first date,
it doesn't make.
If anything, maybe it doesn't make you think anything. Does that make you think he likes you less? Does that make you think he's less of the kind of person you're looking for? Maybe more of the kind of person you're looking for? More modern in that sense? Like, what does it make you think?
It does make me question how masculine you are. Because I do, in a way, like a guy who's very masculine.
Yeah.
But then I also think about our generation now. There's so many things to consider, and it's only a matter of time that you try to figure out how this man will protect you, provide for you, XYZ. So to me, it's not a deal breaker, but it's something that I'll keep in mind whilst I get to know you. Right.
It's an amber flag. It's an amber flag. What's something else you wanted to go through? We're going to go through this list. She was ready.
Okay, let's see.
I'll ask you something.
Okay. If your ex keeps coming back and he says that he wants to try again, how do you know that he's serious?
Very good question. It's hard because I'd want to know how they broke up. So did they break up because he wasn't taking it seriously? Or did they break up because... Why would she think he's not serious is what I'm asking.
Okay. I'll give my experience.
Go for it.
So with my ex, we both tried to make it work like as much as possible. We had red flags, of course. I think everyone has red flags, and we were trying to work it out together. And even though we couldn't get past it, I still appreciated that he tried, and it was just maybe the lack of compatibility that we had, even though we genuinely had love for each other.
Yes.
And he says that he's reflected all of that, and he seems like he has, because he's been telling me exactly what the problems were unprovoked. But I've passed all of it.
You've let it go?
I've let it go.
Okay.
But it just makes me curious, like how you can figure out if a guy is genuine.
So do you think he's not genuine about wanting to try things again with you?
I think that he's genuine, but I'm not interested anymore. But I think he's genuine. But what makes guys... What's the pivotal moment for guys?
That makes him go, I want to get back with her.
I want to get back with her, and I want to work harder.
Sure.
In my problems, and then her problems.
Yeah, I get that. One, I'd probably say that's always a really good sign that you will probably no one's perfect, but that you were probably a really good partner because you were a net positive on his life. Does that make sense? So when I say like a net positive, it means, no, we all have our strengths and weaknesses, but the strengths that you brought to him and how you choose to share yourself with him and be in his life had a positive impact on his life, right? It was like positive value on his life, right? It wasn't a detriment to him, it was a positive for him. And so I think when a guy and a girl, when they break up and a guy's coming back, is like, I want to try things again. I think what's happened is the distance has allowed him to realize how much value you brought to his life. And he's like, wow, actually the value that she brought, one, maybe I can't really find that anywhere else as easily. And two, I didn't realize how much value she brought. And I'm willing to work harder to have that value back in my life. So a lot of the time, that's what it means. So usually if an ex is trying to come back, it usually is a sign that you were a really good partner to them.
Oh, that's nice.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Or they're toxically masculine and they're just trying, they're just trying to hold on to their, what's theirs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense.
What does that make you think? Does that make sense in your situation?
It makes sense in my situation, given that like I can like see where I can apply that.
Yes.
For me, like, do you mean like, does it make me change?
Or no, it's kind of more, does that resonate in maybe before you broke up, you felt that there wasn't an acknowledgement of the things you were doing for the relationship. And now he's like, I realized that you were doing this and I'm willing to work harder for this to work. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You're gonna have to ask me that question again.
No, it was just a clarification. It's interesting, like, if you don't mind me asking, how long were you guys together for?
A year.
A year. Was that your longest relationship?
It wasn't my longest relationship, no, but it was my most serious relationship.
Got you.
You know what? I would say that it was my first serious relationship.
Your first serious relationship?
Yeah.
And when did you guys break up?
Over a year ago. Maybe,
so
like
it's been...
a year ago. I think a year ago, maybe.
About a year?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Maybe 2 years. I don't know.
Oh, she's over it, boy.
I told you, yeah, exactly.
She's over it. She's like, I don't even know when we broke up. I know that's behind me. It's interesting because a lot of the time, and maybe girls don't do this, maybe it's guys, but I think a lot of the time when people come out of quite a serious, maybe intense relationship, they tend to go off on one. A lot of the time. They're like, yeah, I'm going to go on the dates with the guys who've been asking me out. I'm going to go and see this person in a show. Or some girls might be like, yeah, I'm going to let this guy fly me out. Do you know what I mean? Why do you think you chose a different path? I mean, did you do that? Did you choose a different path?
No. I think me personally, the main reason why I didn't choose that is it's not something I'm interested in. Like, my drive for that doesn't interest me. If anything, I have more drive to spend time with my friends and my family.
Yeah.
And there's just some, like, for example, when I was younger, don't get me wrong, like you do have like maybe that little phase. It wasn't as drastic as this.
Yeah.
But even for me, okay, actually, you know what? I'm just gonna say it's like specifically hygiene.
What do you mean?
I can't kiss a guy from the club. I won't take a guy back from the club. Or even if I'm going out and someone's in the bar, it's like really chill settings. No.
That's good. I think that's
hygiene is so
I think you like because of hygiene.
That is mainly it.
What you think everyone out here is just
I'm not
like, yeah, everyone out here is fucking nasty. That's all right. You can have that opinion.
I'm genuinely thinking if I do feel that way.
And is it guys in general? I guess guys could be.
I think everyone in general, to be honest. Okay. Like, because I don't know their habits, I will assume that, you know, even when you go drinking, like, do you actually wash your hands after you went to the toilet and you're that drunk?
It's a good question.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah,
it's a good question.
I was gonna answer. I was like,
do they? Yeah, I know a lot of guys.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Exactly. And even say if you weren't too drunk, like even when you're like, you have that burst of like serotonin, dopamine, you want to go out again, like you don't even have to be drinking, like how fast or how thorough do you actually wash your hands?
Yeah.
Me, I bring a toothbrush everywhere.
Bring a toothbrush everywhere. Interesting.
And if not, I have gum. Just because then it gives me that mentality that I feel clean. So I stay. Do you know what I mean? It's a mental thing.
Well, I reckon that's so apparent because you being a nurse, you're probably like really conscious of.
Oh no, you know what? Before I wasn't.
Of that.
When I was younger, I literally hated showers.
So basically, you used to be a cretin, and now you're on the other end of the extreme, where you sanitize everything. Where did this change come from? What happened?
I don't know. You know, I feel like when I was younger, it obviously changed. It changed. There was a pivotal moment when I was younger.
Yeah, what happened? Like we say pivotal change, it sounds like you got cholera. You're like, okay, I can't live in shit anymore.
I'm good. I've always been good. But no, like
had like mold in her bed and on the carpet. She's like, yeah, this is, you know.
No, do you know what? When I was younger, I was just scared of having showers.
You were scared of showers?
This is when I was younger, okay? Not when I was like 11 or like.
Oh, okay. Okay.
This was when I was younger.
Okay.
I don't know why I just said that.
That is so funny. Hey, listen, do you, man? So if a guy, so if a guy approached you in like a bar or a club, what would tell you that he's hygienic enough for you to go out with him? I have to ask this. What are the telltale signs for some of our male audience? His neck. No, that's actually true.
It's a fact.
That's actually true.
You know what? You know when Gig said in his lyrics, he was like, I'm gonna have to get this lyrics up or something. Yeah. But he was like, he said something along the lines of, I don't look at her body, I look at her hands and feet. When you resonate with that and you deep it, you're like,
that's actually big facts.
What does that say about you?
That's so true.
Inwardly.
That is so true.
So
yeah, it's so weird. I see guys out here with like the longest ass nails, you know.
No.
And I'm like, why? I think, you know, guys aren't going out getting manicures. So it's just like, what are you?
Oh la la. When guys as well have like one or two longer nails.
I respect. That's actually a good point.
Do you know what I mean?
That's actually a good point.
Do you know what I mean? And 100%. I wouldn't. Wait, sorry, what was that question?
Well, I was like, what are the telltale signs that he's hygienic?
I don't really look for it in that moment.
Yeah.
Actually, no, that's what I do. I'm sorry. I'm trying to like
show me your hands, boy. Show you.
I'm just gonna like sneaky like.
So how big's your hands? Oh shit.
Oh okay. God. If it was someone I was actually attracted to.
Yep.
I would look for things that fit my preference. But I would say yes to a date, but I wouldn't go back with you, and I'd make it clear.
But isn't that just because obviously that's just not what you do anyway, or maybe you've done it before?
There's actually never been the time.
Have you ever met a guy where you're like, oh, I'm super attracted to you, and we've, you know, but I wouldn't see you seriously, so I'd just have like more of a chilled thing with you?
Wait, sorry, I started getting distracted.
Have you ever met a guy where you would have chilled fun with him because you found him really attractive, but you wouldn't take him seriously? So you're more chilled about whether you went back to his or whatever, like you were more chilled with that because you weren't taking it seriously.
Actually, you know what? There was one time.
Oh yeah?
There was one time. Yeah, that's it.
There was one time. What was it about? What was it about this guy that you're like, yeah, I'm open to that with this dude?
It's because I knew him before, and then it just happened that I saw him at the party.
Yeah.
And I was really shocked. I was like, I was just really shocked.
Is that a glow up? What the fuck?
And because I recognized him from before, I was like, oh, you're someone familiar, and you were someone I was actually attracted to before. So I've already known you.
Yeah, okay, I guess that's kind of different.
That was the only time for me.
But you didn't see anything long-term potential with him?
No.
How come?
It was during this year when I was trying to I have been staying disciplined and resilient. And when I make that commitment, like I said, I stay committed to it.
Apart from that one time.
I think it was before. I can't remember.
Okay.
See, this is what I mean by like sometimes when I have this mindset, I have not thought about
any of that
in a long time. Like even my timeline's like,
Yeah, I get that. Do you find kind of since your last relationship and then kind of having this time for yourself, do you find that what you look for in a guy is different, is the same? Does it confirm the things that you looked for before? Does it make you actually know this is actually the kind of guy that I'm looking for my future or whatever? Like, what's that done for you?
So I feel like the person that I was with in my last relationship, I feel like I found what I wanted in him. But I feel like we were in just such different parts of our life that we became incompatible. And the stresses, the normal stresses of life enhanced that. Or at least like it shone light to our situation right now. But because, I don't know why, but I question whether I would ever go back to like an ex if I felt that way.
Yeah, of course.
And I say to myself that I wouldn't. Even if it was that person that I felt like that for.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's because I have this idea of you now, and I can never change it.
I know exactly what you mean.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And while we could work in the future,
yes,
the way that I saw you before will always impact the way I react to you if that situation or something similar happened again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that. What's something else you want to ask?
Okay. What are the signs that guys want to change the dynamic of a friendship?
So he's friends with you and he wants it to turn romantic?
Yeah.
Well, first, I would say that he probably always wanted to.
Okay.
9 times out of 10. A lot of male and female friendships, the guy took an interest in her, but she put him in the friend zone. She kept it platonic.
But what if he kept it platonic?
Okay. Well, if he asked to hang out with you one-on-one in an environment where something intimate could happen. So like, for example, like if you're already friends, so like, it's not, he already knows you. So if he's like, oh, actually, nah, maybe something could happen here. It could definitely be more, maybe he goes, yo, what you up to Thursday night? Like, why don't you come by and let's hang out? And if that's something you don't usually do, you'd be like, oh, that's interesting. Because it's just one-on-one time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So anything about him trying to see you more and be in an environment where it's just you two, where potentially something could happen?
Okay, yeah.
Does that make sense? What do you think?
I mean, I suppose it makes sense when you want to see each other more.
Yeah.
Like I can understand that.
I guess that I should ask you, how would a guy know whether a girl is wanting to change the dynamic?
I feel it's very similar in the ways that you probably knew it all along.
Okay.
But sometimes women, like when they want to keep a friendship, sometimes they like to be in denial about it because they want to keep that friendship longer. In denial
about her feelings towards him or his to hers?
Yeah.
About her feelings towards him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But then as well, maybe women have always had that feeling towards a certain guy as well. Because I have. Okay. And when you're set on a person being that person that you need them to be, you stick to it. And it's very hard for women to change that way of thinking when they come to that realization
about this friend.
Yes.
So let's say you've got a girl who's friends with a guy who she kind of has stronger feelings for. Would she be open? Let's say nothing romantic was happening there, like it was just friends, but she knows that she has this feeling for. Would she be open if another guy took an interest in her? Or would she not be open to that? Because her feelings are like elsewhere.
Shall I relate that to me or generally?
Sure, yeah. Tell what I say for you.
Say that question again.
So if your feelings you have stronger feelings for a male friend, but nothing's going on in that sense. If another guy took an interest in you, let's say another guy that maybe on initial you're like, oh yeah, like he seems pretty cool. Would you be open to that? Or would you be like, because my feelings are here, I'm actually not open to anything else?
I think what's important is to actually have that conversation with that person that you find attraction to, but it's also your friend, and to make it clear that nothing's gonna happen before you move on to someone else that you also find attracted to.
So you would tell the male friend that you have feelings for, that nothing's gonna happen. Yeah,
and just make it clear, like make it absolutely clear that nothing's gonna happen between us.
But why would you need to disclose that though?
I feel like it's because women like to have the idea that there's a possibility that even though there isn't, like they like to glamorize it,
right?
And be in that delulu kind of like yeah. So I think it's really important for women to have that communication. I'm someone who values communication a lot anyways. So for me personally, that's why it's a preference to talk it out.
Yeah.
So
have you done that with the male friend you're referring to, or previous male friend?
Yes.
And how that conversation go?
Very mutually. Yeah.
In what sense? What was mutual?
So we made our barriers clear. And even though we have a curiosity for certain things, we've both made it clear that
it's not going to happen
at this point as well. The future's open, but at this point, this is where we're at.
That's so interesting because so you both have feelings for each other to some degree. You both have semi-romantic curiosity about each other. Fair to say? How would you describe it?
Sorry.
She has no idea.
No, I do.
No idea.
Okay, so basically, we spoke about whether we'd have a. Sorry, I'm just. It's in my mind.
I hope he watches.
Okay, let me just recollect myself. So we discussed whether we'd ever thought about having sex with each other.
Yeah.
Like in a friendship way.
There is no friendship way. We thought about having sex with each other as friends. As friends.
Yeah. And then what's it called? We both came to a decision that it wasn't gonna work out because our friendship would forever change.
Very true. Oh, so you both had a curiosity about each other.
Yes, sexually.
Yeah. But you both, correct me if I'm wrong, you're not into each other enough for it to turn into a relationship. And so just quenching the curiosity isn't worth jeopardizing the friendship.
100%, yeah.
We
have a very strong friendship relationship. But that curiosity stood there because, number one, when guys talk to their other guys about where they're going, so he's disclosed it with his friend. Yeah. One of the first things that he said to me was that, are you fucking this girl? Like, why are you staying over here at hers if you're friends? And he said, no, we're actually just friends.
I get that.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that means, I guess emotionally you'd be open to someone else already, like even before you had that conversation, because you weren't really looking at him long term, were you? Or were you?
I never thought about that. No.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Okay. Do you think if you started dating someone, do you think he would get jealous?
I've thought about this actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there'd be maybe a part of me that's like, oh, like, I don't know if I could physically like see you. Yeah. Let me rephrase that. If you have a girlfriend, I would see you less, and you can't stay at mine.
Yeah, of course. When
we go out and do whatever.
Yeah.
And the best times is normally when you sit down and have that conversation.
It's really mature. It's good you can have that
in the dark, and you're just like talking about life, laughing, doing whatever.
Yeah.
Like that was like one of our strong suits.
Yeah.
In our friendship, friendship, and so you can't have that kind of like friendship intimacy.
Yeah, because it's like there's an element of that friendship when you're both single where you can play with the edge of it being something more in terms of like the physical side. But then if you start seeing someone else, then getting to that edge just seems like mad inappropriate.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, let me ask you something. Do you think it's harder to find commitment today?
I think that a lot of people are weak-minded nowadays.
Say more. What do you mean?
Just because I feel like, especially with COVID that come around, generally, I feel like the population just lacks resilience and discipline now. And especially because they've got into that, was it 3 years now of COVID?
Yes.
Yeah, 3 years of most people being lazy. You've gotten yourself into very bad habits physically and now mentally.
Yes.
You don't have that strength.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think that commitment is harder.
So do you think the same issues face men and women? Because you kind of feel as a general, men and women have gotten lazier in regards to going out and getting a relationship or dating or improving them themselves, like.
So you're asking if relationships now is,
as in like, here like people have gotten lazier. Do you think that's the reason why men and women who maybe want a relationship aren't getting the relationship that they want?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's a very big factor. Yeah. Because if, like I said, if you're not staying true to the self-commitment you made to yourself, how can you do it for someone else?
That is a very, very good point.
Yeah.
What do you think is an unreasonable standard men have for women nowadays?
Is for women to become the breadwinners.
You think men expect that?
I think a lot of men now expect that. Just from the friendships and the conversations I've had. I'm not saying that's everyone majority of the population in the UK or something.
Yeah.
But the experiences I've had and the conversations I've had, I'd say, yeah.
Do you think that's an unreasonable expectation since women are, doing really well in their careers and stuff nowadays?
I would say if you had no intentions of progressing yourself, or if you plan to just support her alone, and to let her do her thing whilst you're not growing yourself, I think it would be unreasonable. I think people should grow independently and come together.
I agree, but what if a guy's like, okay, well, any woman that I'm going to choose, she has to be on my level at least. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do
you think, because I guess that's kind of the same. He's saying that she has to bring the bread as well as me. Do you know what I mean?
You'd have to ask that.
So like, you're like men are kind of expecting women to be the breadwinners. And I'm saying, what if a guy is a breadwinner, but he's saying she also has to bring the bread, right? So she has to be bringing the same that he is. Is that a reasonable expectation, or do you think that's unreasonable?
I feel like, you know what, I don't know. Because it's down to preference. Because some guys like to protect that woman that they find that's right for them. And they don't mind women like maybe being of that type, like a lower standard.
Yeah. On a lower economic status than him. Yeah, 100%. So I think most men are like that, to be honest.
Yeah. Given it's the right person, yeah. But obviously if you're not self-aware about it, then you'll find an insecurity if a woman is equal or higher to you.
Yeah.
So
I think women care more if a guy's not higher than her.
Yeah.
I think men don't actually care if she is, but I think what often happens is that when a woman feels that she is higher than a man in those metrics, I think she doesn't respect him the way he needs to be respected for a relationship to work.
Yeah. Do
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because respect is love to a man. And obviously this isn't an excuse, but this is a big reason why it's more common where the woman is a higher level than a man for domestic abuse to happen, because whether she realizes it or not, she has less respect for him than a man who'd be on her level or above, right? And because he feels that in how she'll speak to him, maybe certain things, instead of trying to get respect through love, he then tries to get respect through fear, and he does that by abusing her.
Yeah.
So he makes her scared of him, because it's like, well, if you're going to respect me through love, I'm going to make you fucking terrified of me, so you have to respect me for that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's weird, because that ultimately comes down to, can a woman respect a man who she feels that she's ultimately higher than? I guess I should ask you, what do you think?
Can a woman respect a man who
she's like in a better position at? So let's say, for example, like you're in nursing, right? So let's say, for example, over the next 8 years, right, you get to a point where you're at a good level, you know, you've got a good income and stuff. Maybe you buy your own place or something like that. And then this guy takes an interest in you. And let's say he's not where he is in his career compared to where you are. Let's say maybe he's still living at home, so he's not on the same level as you. Do you think you would still give him an equal opportunity with you?
You know what? That's something that I reflect on a lot, and I don't think I know. Because at this point in my life, I'm very conflicted between giving a guy a chance or not, and whether I'd be prepared to stay for his growth whilst I'm in mine.
Pick for his potential.
Sorry?
Do you mean like pick him for his potential, you mean?
What do you mean?
As in like, you like stay for his growth. So he's not got it now, but he's got potential to get there.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're conflicted about whether you would choose a guy who's not there already. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
I think that's an answer I still have to figure out, because...
How old are you, 22?
22.
So I guess most guys your age probably aren't there.
Yeah.
Was your ex older than you?
Yeah, 28.
He was 28?
28, but...
That makes sense.
I think he was 26?
Yeah. Okay. And what's the two sides in your head? What's the side going, yeah, you can definitely choose that guy, and the guy saying, nah, we've got to choose a guy who's got it?
What do you mean?
As in, like, you said you're kind of conflicted, right? So what's the argument that you make to yourself that, yeah, I could choose a guy who is also growing like me, versus the argument which is like, nah, I want to choose a guy who's got his stuff together already?
Do you know what? My experience is, if you get two opportunities coming to you and that happens.
Yes.
Well, I have not had that. I've not had that.
Well, I mean, no, but you would have guys who ask you out, obviously.
You would think.
Guys don't ask you out? Nah, lies.
No. Okay, basically, yeah. I actually don't.
You don't
that
what?
Much. I have a lot on social media.
Is that not the same thing? Don't most people ask each other out through like online, either dating apps?
I think I need to rephrase that. I was thinking more like in person, that's why. It's because basically if anyone was to ask me on a date on social media, 99% of the time I say no, or I just ignore it.
Is that because it's online, or just because you look at them, you're like, I'm not about you?
Number one, because I said like, oh yeah, like you have to naturally fit in. I have to naturally see you in my environment.
Got you.
Like that'd be the only way that I can see something there.
Yes.
But I think the woman that I am in person is very I've been told is very intimidating.
Really?
And I've seen it where I was questioning why I don't actually get asked in person as much as I thought I would. And people would say to me, it's because you don't look approachable. Like, and you know what? Because you know my personality now.
Yes.
Maybe it could be a bit different because I'm actually really giggly and I laugh a lot and I talk a lot as well.
Yeah.
But when I'm in my space, my safe space in my mind, wherever I'm at, I'm always with a purpose. So even my walk, my body language won't give you that opportunity to approach me. And that's a choice because of what I said.
Sure.
The reason why my purpose is But even before, my body language to people just wasn't something easily to receive.
Yeah. Do you do you want to be more approached in person? Like if you're doing something, like if you're in the gym or you're training or you're going to work or something, like are you open to being approached?
Romantically?
Well, yeah. I doubt a guy's gonna say, "Hey, you look like you could be a great friend."
Yeah, romantically, yeah, because like I said, like where my mind is at the moment,
yeah,
you have to be in the same level, and so you'll be in the same environment as me.
Same level or same environment? Because what if he's at the same level but in a different industry or something?
What do you mean?
So you like, if a guy's gonna be in your environment, like you do nursing, right? So what if he's not in the medical field? What if he's like a lawyer or like an accountant?
A lawyer in the gym, a lawyer in the library.
Do you go to the library?
A lot.
You do? Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay, I hear that. Yeah, I think I'll just be real with you. Guys probably look at you and think that you will almost always turn them down. That's why they don't approach you in real life.
Yeah, I've been told this as well.
Yeah.
It's been,
But that's why they'll find your Insta and then slide into them
really?
DMs. Yeah, because it's like the rejection through social media is easier to handle than in real life.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
Have you ever approached a guy yourself?
Well, maybe when I was drunk.
How did you approach him?
But it wasn't with any intentions though. It was for entertainment.
Oh, that doesn't count.
For myself, exactly. So, yeah, I don't think I have.
Would you?
Would I? No.
Why?
No. Because I would want to see that type of masculine energy from you. I want you to approach me.
Okay, I hear that. I'm assuming you want a man who's emotionally intelligent, right? So a guy who has a high level of EQ, he won't approach you unless you've given him signals to.
Yes.
And if you don't give him signals, he's not going to approach you.
Yeah.
That's not saying he's not a masculine man who can't do that, but he's not the kind of guy to just randomly approach a girl if he doesn't see her being in a space where she's open to it and that she wants him to approach.
Yeah, I agree. I agree because the way that women shoot their shot sometimes is that eye contact.
Eye contact, sending signals, but also, and in a good way, obviously because of all of the awareness on like sexual harassment, all of this stuff, good guys, right, are very conscious of it, right?
Yes.
And also it's like, I'm not going to approach her if she's going to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you're not going to send out those signals,
I agree.
at least what I would call choosing signals to a guy, at least a guy who is a good intentional man who's masculine enough to come and say hi to you. I mean, I'm biased in saying this, but I think that I know that most of those kind of guys, they would look for cues from you, because the day of just going up to a random girl, like that's way too risky now. It's way too risky because you don't know how she's going to react. You don't know if she's crazy. You don't know if she's a good person. You don't know if she's going to say no politely. You don't even know if she's going to say yes in a crazy way. Like you don't know. So I think if he's, I think, like, I'll be honest, I just don't think guys should ever approach a girl at the gym.
I've had this conversation with a guy as well before, not the same guy, but he said to me that he would never approach a girl in the library or in the gym or somewhere where she's working on herself. And I hear it, I see it. Yeah, I see it. But I like to think that someone has the courage, and that, do you know what I mean? Like that one person has the courage to be like, you know what? I've seen you so many times now. I've plucked up the courage. Maybe like I've given you the signal, or maybe in the gym, you know those gym cues where like, oh yeah, you're using that weight.
Is that a gym cue?
not that specific one, but like
that's
small,
too vague.
But little cues that make sense to you that might not make sense to her.
So here's the thing, I get that, but here's the thing: you asking a guy to approach you is a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
Because most girls wouldn't dare approach a guy cold. Wouldn't dare do that. right? You've done that once in your life and it wasn't even romantically. It was just for fun, right? So you already asking that is a lot. For you to say, I want a guy to approach me and I've given him no cues.
Oh, no, okay. Let me take that back.
I'm saying
I would have given you cues if you're the person that I'm kind of interested in. I didn't clarify that. Yeah, I didn't clarify that. Sorry, yeah.
Because I was like, if all a woman, I'm just saying, as a woman, you just have to give those cues.
Yeah.
You're not even doing anything.
What are cues that guys receive? That's the green light.
Eye contact, but it has to be more than once, and it has to be sustained.
Okay.
It can't be a look and then look away, because when we're out and about, sometimes you make eye contact with people by accident. You're like, oh, we just looked at each other at the same time, and then you go about your day, right?
Maybe that's my problem.
What's your problem?
Because basically now I'm more open to a relationship.
Yeah.
I've said that to myself more recently because I'm like, okay, I'm actually in a place where I can give someone else my time. I have that time that I can sacrifice for other people.
Yes.
And so it makes sense when you said that no one approaches me because I don't give them that sustaining cue. Because I've looked at people and I thought, okay, why is he not getting it? Like, I looked at you, but I didn't give him the long
Do you smile at him?
No.
Come on.
I know.
Miss, I carry my toothbrush everywhere for my pearly whites. You're not even using it.
I know, but I don't know. That must be my problem then.
100%.
The thing is, that's something I'm not self-aware of because I've not explored that in a long time.
Yeah, because the thing is, what happens is, like, imagine this. Out of 100 guys, less than 10 will actually have the confidence to approach a woman. Less than 10. But let's say 10 out of 100 guys will approach a woman, right? Let's say out of that 10, let's say 8 of them are good men who are on their purpose, good EQ, like emotionally intelligent, socially intelligent, good men who you would want to approach you, right? And then you got those 2 out of 100 who just approach any girl that they see, regardless. Yeah. If you don't send those cues, not only will the good men not approach you, the only men that will approach you are the ones that you don't want. The ones who just approach every girl because. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's in your interest as a woman to know how to send those cues and be direct with it, because men communicate very directly. Women communicate more indirectly, right? So like, this is why it happens all the time where a guy might be hitting on a girl at a bar or a club. She's sending indirect cues that she's not interested. Like, she's facing away from him. She's not asking him questions. She's trying to make little eye contact with him. But to him, he's like, well, she's not said no. So she's not told me directly that she's not interested or she wants me to stop. So I'm going to carry on. Right?
Yeah.
So that's where like a lot of that mismatching happens.
Yeah.
So if you're going to send cues and signals to a guy, you have to be more direct than what you're probably comfortable doing. Because as a woman, you're more comfortable sending things very subtly that most guys just do not pick up on.
Yeah, I think you just told me.
Do you see what I'm saying? What's one last thing you want to ask?
Okay, let's have a look.
There's a list.
Okay. Do men prefer women that are low-key on social media?
That's a good question. What do you mean by on social media?
Okay. So if I was to relate it to me, because I have a background of modeling and my social following, like, it's not crazy, but it's just like, it's up. It's like, it's up enough to be like, what do you do? Let me just look back at my question.
How do you guys feel about a girl being on social media?
Okay, yeah. So do men prefer women that are low-key on social media?
So do guys prefer girls who are on social media and have a bigger influence? If I'm being, it depends on why she has the influence. But the way most girls get followers and influence on social media, it's actually the opposite. Guys prefer a girl who's very not that. Like I said, it depends why. So for example, modeling's different. If you have professional model shots, I think that's different because it's like, okay, she's a professional. But a lot of girls build a following because they have the best thirst traps.
Yeah.
They're showing the most. Do you know what I mean? And while that's attractive in a sense, a guy will go, oh yeah, I look at her and yeah, I'd have fun with her. it's very much the case that if it looks like a girl seeks a lot of male validation, even if it's just to make her look good, that's a quality that a man doesn't want in a girlfriend.
And what would those be?
No, just so like, for example, if a girl posts half naked, like all her photos are half naked photos online. Well, like you can tell someone's got a very thirst trappy profile. Like so many girls who have OnlyFans, for example, you know what kind of profile that looks like.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 4 out of every 5 shots is her in underwear. But like if it's not everything, and depends on how, like it's different of her taking like an underwear shot of her, like a mirror selfie, and then if she's like modeling lingerie.
Okay, yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Because one's like very professional, and one is like the intention for like for validation and like the thirst trappiness is just way more obvious and way more clear in one.
Yeah.
So if a girl has if her profile is very much like that, a lot of guys be like, okay, she seeks a lot of male validation, and a girl who seeks a lot of male validation often puts herself in environments that provide risk to the relationship.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that's something that guys just don't like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's the same as like, if you see a guy's profile and majority of his photos are him posed next to a nice car or like a plane, like a private plane or whatever, like, or posting like fancy watches or something, it says a certain thing that this is how he's chosen to represent himself to the world. But it's very different if, okay, he's got a photo of him in a nice car, then he's got a professional photo of him at an event, then he's got another photo of him on a holiday, then he's got another photo of him maybe with his top off, like in like, I don't know, at the beach, right? Then he's got another photo of him like, oh, I'll just treat myself to this new jewelry, whatever. It's very different. I think consistency of photos says a lot about the person.
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
So I don't think guys go, oh, she's got a big following, that makes her more attractive. I think it's more how she got the following.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I should ask you, like, what kind of, what does a guy's profile say about him to you? Like, what do you look at, and what kind of, I would say judgments, but assessments do you make? Yeah,
no, I agree. I actually agree. That's one thing that I get very anxious about with my social media. And it's that I feel like sometimes I'm unapproachable because they don't like the work that I do and that I am like on social media. But your shots are like
professional model, right?
I feel like
they're not like OnlyFans thirst
No,
traps.
definitely not.
No, you're good. And are all your photos like that or no?
All of my is it in lingerie? Or
like are they all
a bit of like a thirst trap kind of?
Are they all very much like, yeah, are they all thirst trap photos or no?
I wouldn't say so. No, I don't think.
I won't worry about it.
I don't know. I always just think about like how someone receives the photo, because obviously if I post something, I had a situation where I posted a campaign picture, and I said specifically in a very large caption trying to like inform someone of something. It was breast cancer awareness.
Yeah.
And I was using the campaign for loungewear.
Okay.
And I, above all the information, I said that it's not just an excuse for women to post pictures and not inform the audience about why.
Okay.
And basically the campaign gave us a criteria that we had to follow, and it was to pose topless, but with our upper half covered with the banner.
Oh, that's
and you would have the
though.
underwear on. But one of the guys messaged me and he was like, not an excuse to post a pretty picture. And I was just like, is that you? Like the way that you're receiving it, or is that what everyone's receiving it? Do you know what I mean? And I was thinking like, what? Like,
I think from the way you've described that, I think that's him.
That's him. Yeah.
I think that's him. If not all your photos are thirst trappy, so if you have shots of you doing different stuff, didn't you have? Because have you got like yourself fighting on there? Yes. You're good. Don't worry.
Yeah, you know what? This is why I said like when I have mutual grounds with guys, and I talk about this, it's like, okay, I'm not crazy like that.
Yeah, and it's funny because I get it's it's hard for women because it's like going out when you're dressing to impress a guy, right? Like if you're going on a date or something, it's like, okay, how much do I reveal? Is this too much? It's like, if I go dressed like this, is he just going to think I'm a type of girl who's just for fun and I'm really easy and all this stuff? But if I don't show enough, is he going to find me attractive? All of this stuff. And I get it. The line can be confusing.
Yeah.
But okay, like, so for example, right, this is just what I say to like my female clients. Now, if you're going on a date with a guy, okay, there's three body parts that guys find generally the most attractive in women. Boobs, bum, and legs. If you're going on a date with a guy...
What if you have short legs?
That's okay. That's all right. That doesn't mean you can't have nice legs.
Do you know what? I always think about this because I'm like, I'm so small. Like,
doesn't mean you can't have good legs. Like if you train and you work out, like, you know, if you're athletic, you probably...
You know what? I was thinking more like length because obviously I'm short.
I get that. Yeah, I guess so. Length can be a thing. But like those are the main things that guys be like, oh, these are, you know, features on women guys find the most attractive. If you're going on a date with a guy, you show a maximum of 2, never 3.
Really?
100%. If you're out here, you got your cleavage out.
That's very
true. You got your bum out and your legs are all this. Nah, you're painting a certain impression.
Yeah.
But the gorgeous, classy, sexy woman that he's like, wow, she's sexy and I respect her. It's like you're showing 1, maybe 2, and that's like a maybe 2 of these things.
Yeah.
And when I say showing, I mean like showing off those things. So because you don't have to have your legs out to show you've got great legs. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to have your bum out to show you've got a great bum. It could be just wearing something tight or, you know, you got a cleavage out, whatever
something
it is.
that flatters your figure, yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? And that's the difference between sexy and, what's the other word? Provocative. Yeah. Is what I'll say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so...
I mean, this is my thoughts. I'm just one man with an opinion, but I think it makes sense.
Okay, can I ask one question?
Of course you can. Go for it.
If there's one thing that you wish women should know about guys, what would it be?
Oh. That just because a guy will have sex with you doesn't mean he's open to committing to you.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's one that women confuse a lot. Oh, actually, and this kind of ties into that. Men lower their standards for sex.
Oh, yeah.
Essentially, which is basically the same thing. It's basically the same thing. Because, and this sounds very harsh, but I'm just going to say it how it is. I think a trap that I've seen more women fall into is that they date different guys and stuff. They're like, this guy won't commit to me. This guy won't commit to me. And they get into this cycle of dating guys who they're intimate with, but isn't going to commit to them. And then they think like, oh, guys are trash. None of them want to commit, all of this stuff. And the reason I've seen this happen the most is because the truth is women can use sex to be involved with guys who basically are out of their league. They can use sex to get access to guys that they're not on their level. But then what happens is they do that so much that they acclimatize and then they think this caliber of man is my standard. Does that make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. Because she's like, I'm having sex with all these guys, but none of them want to commit. And it's like, because when guys are just looking for sex, their standards are much lower than what they'd look for a relationship. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. And the same thing for guys. It's like a guy spending a lot of money and taking girls out on dates who don't want to be intimate with them. It's like, well, I'm taking her out on dates. I'm talking to her. I'm giving her all my time, energy, and finances, but she doesn't want to be intimate with me. And it's like, because you're using money, time, and attention to punch above your league, bro. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I think if many women understood the difference between sexual attention and romantic intention, I think they'd find the relationships that they want. Yeah. Yeah. That's and sometimes they just want to have fun. So it's like, I know if you're a girl and you just want to have sex, you're going to choose the hottest guy you can, right? That makes sense. Yeah. But guys, generally, you know how women want a guy to be on her level or above? in terms of like economic status and income and all that.
Yes.
Guys want a girl on his level and above in terms of attractiveness.
Really?
100%.
What about like cute? Because you know what? I feel like a lot of guys sometimes prefer cuteness over sexy.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying she has to be sexy. Like he can find her really cute. Like she's a really attractive, cute girl.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like he can be like, right, like yeah, she's really cute. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the same way a girl wants a guy on her level and above in terms of like economic standing, guys want a girl on his level or above in terms of attractiveness.
Yeah.
So that's why it's really common. Like when we see it the most common in like celebrities, right? We'll see an average guy, but he's a super successful celebrity with the most gorgeous girl, but no one knows who she is. She's not on his level of success. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he's nowhere near as attractive as she is.
Yeah.
And that's because they both fulfill each other's hypergamous nature.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's why it happens like, I was talking to a female friend a few months ago. She was like, oh, this guy, she was talking about a friend of hers. This guy was in a relationship with this girl for a year. He got on his fitness journey, started getting into really great shape, became more attractive and stuff. And she hadn't done that. She wasn't doing that. She wasn't growing in herself. And so kind of, her words, not mine, objectively, he became more attractive than her. And she was like, yeah, I don't know why they broke up. I was like, it's because he became more attractive than her. That's why. Because now he can start attracting girls on his level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if he's not looking to settle down, they don't have kids, and you know, they're like in their mid-20s. So it's kind of, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if she wasn't looking to grow in herself in that way, then for him, it's like, the same way you're like, I want a guy to grow in himself in certain ways, the way I am.
Yeah.
When it comes to physical fitness, attractiveness, guys are exactly the same with women in that sense.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Listen, we're going to wrap it there. Thank you for sharing your energy with us, Mykaella. If people want to find you, where can they find you?
My Instagram is Mykaella Rances.
Mykaella Rances.
Should I spell it out?
Yeah, spell it out. Spell it out. Hey, some guy might want to shoot his shot.
You know
I don't
what? People
know.
keep saying like, oh, it's about I'm on the Francis.
Nah, okay,
Is this the way I'm saying it?
Spell it out for us. Spell it out for us.
Okay, it's MYKAELLARANCES.
Got it. Guys, shoot your shot. And if you see her in the library and she glances at you, that's a signal.
I'm gonna practice now.
She's gonna practice. See? You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, thank you for sharing your energy with us. We appreciate you. Thank you. Guys, go show her some love. Give her a follow. Go like some of her posts. And yeah, bro, shoot your shot if you can. Do you know what I mean? She said she's open to it now, so do your thing. But thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next episode.